Welcome to Speak Forward English, where we help you master the language with confidence.
Hey, Jerry. It's so good to see you today. How are you doing?
Sophia, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I've been looking forward to our conversation today. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. So, before we dive in, I just want to remind everyone listening that if you're enjoying our English learning content, please don't forget to subscribe for daily English listening practice. It really helps us out.
Absolutely. And trust me, today's topic is something you'll definitely want to come back to. We're talking about essential phrases and vocabulary for job interviews in English.
Oh, yes, this is such an important topic. I mean, job interviews can be nerve-wracking enough in your native language, right? But doing one in English? That's a whole different level of stress.
You're telling me. I remember my first job interview in English, I was sweating bullets. But you know what? Once you know the right phrases and vocabulary, it becomes so much easier.
Exactly. So let's start with the very beginning. When you walk into that interview room, what's the first thing you need to do?
Well, you need to make a strong first impression with your greeting. Something simple but professional, like, "Good morning, it's a pleasure to meet you," or "Hello, thank you so much for inviting me for this interview."
Perfect examples. And here's a tip. Always use their name if you know it. For instance, "Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today."
That's gold right there. Using someone's name shows respect and that you've done your homework. Now, what about that dreaded question that almost always comes first? You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I know exactly which one. Tell me about yourself. This question trips up so many people because it's so open-ended.
Right. So here's how you tackle it. You want to give what I call your professional elevator pitch. You might say something like, "I'm a marketing professional with 5 years of experience in digital campaigns. I specialize in social media strategy and have helped companies increase their online engagement by up to 40%.
Ooh, I love how specific that is. Notice how Jerry included actual numbers there? That's super important. Don't just say you're good at something, give concrete examples.
Exactly. Numbers speak louder than general statements. Another phrase you could use is, "Throughout my career, I've developed strong skills in," and then list your relevant abilities.
Yes, and here's another one I really like. What attracted me to this position is, this shows you're genuinely interested in the specific job, not just any job.
Oh, that's crucial. Nobody wants to hire someone who seems desperate or unfocused. You want to sound intentional about why you're there.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about describing your strengths. This is your time to shine. What are some good phrases for this?
Okay, so instead of just saying "I'm organized," which sounds flat, you could say, "One of my key strengths is my organizational ability." For example, in my previous role, I managed multiple projects simultaneously and consistently met all deadlines without compromising quality.
See how much more powerful that sounds? You're not just claiming something, you're backing it up with a real scenario.
Another strong opener is, "I would say my greatest strength is," or "I'm particularly strong in," and always, always follow it with an example.
I can't stress that enough. Examples are everything in an interview. Now, what about weaknesses? That's the question everyone dreads.
Oh boy, the weakness question. Here's the thing. Don't say you're a perfectionist or that you work too hard. Interviewers have heard that a million times, and they see right through it.
It's so true. It comes across as rehearsed and insincere. So what should you say instead?
You want to be honest, but strategic. For example, use phrases like, "An area I'm working to improve is," for example, "An area I'm working to improve is my public speaking. I tend to get nervous presenting to large groups, so I recently joined a Toastmasters club to build this skill."
That's perfect. See, you acknowledged a real weakness, but immediately showed you're taking action to improve it. That's what interviewers want to see.
Another good phrase is, "Earlier in my career, I struggled with." This shows growth. You might say, Earlier in my career, I struggled with delegating tasks because I wanted to handle everything myself. However, I've learned that trusting my team and delegating effectively actually leads to better results.
I love that. It shows self-awareness and professional development. Okay, so let's move on to talking about experience. What are some key phrases for describing your previous work?
Great question. You'll want to use action verbs and phrases like, in my previous role, I was responsible for, or I successfully managed. These show ownership and achievement.
Yes, and here's a list of strong action verbs you can use. Developed, implemented, coordinated, spearheaded, optimized, streamlined, facilitated, and executed. These are so much more impactful than weak verbs like did or helped with.
Absolutely. Instead of saying, I helped with sales, say, I contributed to a 25% increase in quarterly sales by implementing a new customer follow-up system.
That's so much more impressive. Now, what about when they ask why you left your previous job? That can be tricky.
It can be, especially if you didn't leave on the best terms, but you always want to stay positive. Never badmouth your previous employer, even if you had a terrible experience.
Never, ever. So what should you say instead?
Use diplomatic phrases like, I'm looking for new challenges and opportunities for growth, or I felt it was time to take the next step in my career. If you were laid off, you can simply say, due to company restructuring, my position was eliminated.
Those are all honest but professional responses. Another good one is, I'm seeking a position that better aligns with my long-term career goals.
Exactly. You're framing it as moving towards something positive, not running away from something negative.
Smart framing is everything. Okay, so let's talk about answering questions about gaps in employment. This is something a lot of people worry about.
Oh yeah. This one makes people anxious. But here's the thing. Gaps happen. The key is how you explain them. You could say, I took time off to care for a family member, or I used that time to develop new skills through online courses.
Exactly. Be brief, be honest, and then pivot back to what you can offer. For example, I took 6 months off for personal reasons, and during that time, I completed 3 professional certifications in data analysis. I'm now excited to bring these new skills to a dynamic company like yours.
Perfect. Now, what about when they ask, why do you want to work here? How do you answer that?
This is where your research really matters. You need to show you know something about the company. Don't just say, it's a great company. That's too vague.
Right. Instead, try something like, I've been following your company's innovative work in sustainable technology, and I'm particularly impressed by your recent initiative to reduce carbon emissions by 50%. I'm passionate about environmental responsibility, and I'd love to contribute to these efforts with my project management skills.
Yes, that shows you've done your homework and that your values align with the company's. Another approach is, your company's reputation for employee development really appeals to me. I'm looking for a place where I can grow long-term.
Those are both strong answers. And speaking of growth, they often ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, the 5-year question. Nobody actually knows exactly where they'll be in 5 years, but you still need to give a thoughtful answer.
True. You want to show ambition, but also realistic expectations. Try something like, in 5 years, I see myself having grown significantly in this role, potentially taking on more leadership responsibilities and mentoring newer team members.
That's good because it shows loyalty. You're planning to still be with the company. Another option is, I hope to have become an expert in this field and be making significant contributions to the company's strategic goals.
Nice. Now, let's talk about discussing salary. This can be super uncomfortable, right?
Oh gosh, yes. Many people either undersell themselves or price themselves out of the job. So what's the best approach?
Well, if they ask, what are your salary expectations, try to deflect initially with something like, I'm more focused on finding the right fit and opportunity. Could you share the budget range for this position?
Smart move. That puts the ball back in their court. But if they really push you for a number?
Then you give a range based on your research. You might say, Based on my experience and research into industry standards for this role, I'm looking for something in the range of $65,000 to $75,000. However, I'm flexible depending on the complete benefits package.
The key phrase there is "I'm flexible." That shows you're reasonable and willing to negotiate, but never undersell yourself just to seem agreeable.
Absolutely not. Know your worth. Another phrase you can use is, I'm confident we can agree on fair compensation that reflects my skills and experience.
Good one. Okay, so let's talk about handling difficult questions. What if they ask about a time you failed or made a mistake?
This is actually a great opportunity if you handle it right. They're not trying to catch you out. They want to see how you handle adversity and learn from mistakes.
Exactly. So you might structure your answer like this. Early in my career, I missed an important deadline because I underestimated how long a project would take. It taught me the importance of building buffer time into my schedules. Since then, I've implemented a project management system that helps me track progress and anticipate potential delays.
Perfect example. You admitted the mistake, explained what you learned, and showed how you've improved. That's the STAR method in action. Situation, task, action, result.
Oh yes, the STAR method. Excited, this is such a useful framework for answering behavioral questions. Can you break it down?
Sure. When they ask something like, tell me about a time you handled a difficult customer, you structure your answer. Situation, set the scene. Task, explain what needed to be done. Action, describe what you specifically did. And result, share the outcome.
Let me give an example. Situation, a client was unhappy with our product and threatened to cancel their contract. Task, I needed to understand their concerns and find a solution. Action, I scheduled a call, listened carefully to their issues, and worked with our tech team to customize features for their needs. Result, not only did they stay with us, but they upgraded to a premium plan and referred 2 new clients.
Applause! That's textbook STAR method right there. See how much more compelling that is than just saying, I'm good with difficult customers?
So much more convincing. Now, what about questions about teamwork? They love asking those.
Oh yeah, things like, are you a team player, or describe your ideal team environment. For the team player question, don't just say yes, give evidence.
Right, like I thrive in collaborative environments. In my last project, I worked with a cross-functional team of 8 people from different departments. I made sure to schedule regular check-ins, actively listened to everyone's input, and helped mediate when there were disagreements about priorities.
Excellent. That shows specific teamwork skills, communication, collaboration, and conflict resolution. Another phrase you could use is, I believe the best results come from diverse perspectives, so I always encourage input from all team members.
Love that. It shows you value different viewpoints. Okay, what about handling stress? They often ask, how do you handle pressure or tight deadlines?
Yeah, they want to know you won't fall apart when things get hectic. You might say, I actually work well under pressure. I prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance, break large projects into manageable steps, and maintain clear communication with stakeholders about progress.
Good answer. You could also mention specific tools or techniques, like when facing multiple deadlines, I use project management software to stay organized, and I'm not afraid to ask for help or delegate when appropriate.
That last part is important. Knowing when to ask for help is a strength, not a weakness.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about questions you can ask them, because you know they always end with, do you have any questions for us?
And you should never, ever say, no, I think you covered everything.
Never. That makes you seem uninterested. Always have questions prepared. What are some good ones?
Great questions include, what does success look like in this role? Or can you describe the team I'd be working with? Or what are the biggest challenges facing the department right now?
Those are all excellent. Another one I like is, what opportunities for professional development does the company offer? This shows you're thinking long-term.
Or what do you enjoy most about working here? This is a nice one because it's personal, and you often get genuine, insightful answers.
True, and it builds rapport. You could also ask, what are the next steps in the interview process? This shows you're organized and interested in moving forward.
Definitely. Now, as we're wrapping up interview content, let's talk about closing statements. When they say, "Is there anything else you'd like to add?" what should you say?
This is your last chance to make an impression. You might say, I just want to reiterate how excited I am about this opportunity. I believe my experience in project management and my passion for innovation make me an excellent fit for your team.
Nice. Keep it brief but impactful. You could also address any concerns you think they might have. I know I don't have experience in the healthcare industry specifically, but my transferable skills in data analysis and my quick learning ability will allow me to get up to speed rapidly.
That's called addressing the elephant in the room, and it can be really effective. Just make sure you frame it positively.
Exactly. And always end with enthusiasm. Something like, "Thank you so much for your time today. I'm very excited about the possibility of joining your team and contributing to your goals."
Perfect. Now, let's talk about some phrases to avoid in interviews. There are definitely some things you don't want to say.
Oh boy, yes. First one, never say "I don't know" without following up. If you're stumped by a question, say, "That's an interesting question. Let me think about that for a moment." Or, "I haven't encountered that exact situation, but here's how I'd approach it."
Good point. Also, avoid filler words as much as possible. Too many, like, makes you sound unsure of yourself.
Which is ironic because I've been saying throughout our conversation. But you're right. In a formal interview, you want to minimize those.
Well, we're having a casual conversation, so it's fine. But yes, in an interview, pause instead of filling silence with filler words. Also, never say negative things about previous employers, coworkers, or bosses.
That's huge. Even if your last boss was terrible, saying "my manager was incompetent" makes you look unprofessional and difficult. Instead, focus on what you learned or what you're looking for in your next role.
Absolutely. Another phrase to avoid is, I'll do anything, or I'll take any position. This makes you seem desperate rather than confident.
Right. Even if you really need the job, you want to appear selective and interested in this specific opportunity. Also, don't say, "I don't have any weaknesses" when asked about areas for improvement. That just sounds arrogant and lacks self-awareness.
Nobody's perfect, and admitting you're working on something shows maturity. What about body language? Should we mention that?
Oh, definitely. While we're focused on vocabulary and phrases, your nonverbal communication matters too. Make eye contact, sit up straight, don't fidget, and smile genuinely.
Yes. And remember, a firm handshake at the beginning and end of the interview makes a difference. Not too strong, not too weak, just confident.
The Goldilocks of handshakes. But seriously, all these nonverbal cues support the great phrases and vocabulary you're using.
Exactly. Now, let's touch on remote or video interviews since those are so common now. Any special phrases for those?
Good point. At the start, acknowledge the format. I hope the video and audio quality are good on your end. Please let me know if you have any trouble hearing me.
That's considerate. And if there's a technical glitch, stay calm and say, I apologize for the technical difficulty, let me try reconnecting. Or could we switch to phone for a moment if the video continues to be problematic?
And just like an in-person interview, dress professionally, choose a quiet, well-lit location, and look at the camera when speaking, not at your own image on the screen.
That's a hard habit to break. But you're right, looking at the camera simulates eye contact. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Before we finish, let's do a quick recap of the most essential phrases.
Perfect. So for introductions, it's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for the opportunity to interview.
For describing yourself, I'm a profession with X years of experience specializing in, and throughout my career, I've developed strong skills in.
For strengths, one of my key strengths is, followed by a specific example. And for weaknesses, an area I'm actively working to improve is.
For experience, use action verbs like developed, managed, implemented, coordinated, and give specific results with numbers when possible.
For why you want the job, show you've researched the company and explain how your values and goals align with theirs.
For asking questions, what does success look like in this role? And can you describe the team culture? These show genuine interest.
And for closing, I'm very excited about this opportunity, and thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing from you.
Wonderful. I think we've given our listeners a really comprehensive toolkit for their next job interview. Remember, everyone, confidence comes from preparation. Practice these phrases, but make them your own.
Absolutely. Don't sound like you're reading from a script. These phrases are frameworks. Adapt them to your personality and experience.
Great point, Jerry. And remember, the more you practice, the more natural these phrases will become. You might even practice mock interviews with friends or family.
That's excellent advice. And hey, if you've been enjoying this conversation and learning these essential interview phrases, please subscribe for daily English listening practice. We cover all kinds of practical English topics.
Yes, please do subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our learning community. Jerry, thank you so much for this engaging conversation today.
Thank you, Sophia. This was fun and hopefully super helpful for everyone listening. Good luck with your job interviews, everyone. You've got this.
You absolutely do. Remember, an interview is not just them evaluating you, you're also evaluating whether they're the right fit for you. Stay confident, be authentic, and let your skills shine.
Perfectly said. And on that note, we'll wrap up today's conversation. Until next time, keep practicing your English.
Take care, everyone, and happy learning.